Hello, everyone, and welcome to Judy's Creations in Crochet. I hope you're all doing well. Today is June the 15th, 2023. Yes, hello. We have a four-legged visitor. She rarely comes in, but I have a little story to tell you about my other four-legged friend. But first, I want to thank all of you for your kind comments about my garden last week. It seems you did enjoy to see my hostas. I am one short of my goal of 200 different ones. I have more than 200 hostas because I have doubles of about, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them. So I need to go and get one more hosta to have 200 different kinds. And it seems lots of you do have some hostas in your own garden, but didn't realize that there were so many different kinds. So I'm glad you enjoyed that tour of my gardens. Thank goodness we got to do it last week, because since then the weather has turned cold. I don't mean cool, I mean cold. I was able to get out and trim the bushes since last week, but I haven't been able to go out and finish the little bit of weeding and spreading the mulch because we got some much needed rain and it was too damp to work in the garden, and it has turned cold. Yesterday we had rain all day long, but hopefully by tomorrow I can get out there and 1 or 2 days will finish my work in the garden, and I am so looking forward to that. So I don't know what the weather is like where you are, but it has turned so cold here that I have my heater on in the room today, and I've been turning my electric fireplace on in the mornings when I get up. And as you can see, I'm wearing a sweater today and still feeling just a wee bit chilly. So I told you I had a little story to tell about my four-legged friend who often visits when I am videotaping, and I notice that I'm way off to the side. Let me move over a bit. In the past, I was very much aware that this particular cat liked to carry treats to me, wool treats. He doesn't play with my yarn. He doesn't bat it around and make a mess as you hear about and see in pictures. I had a cat once that would do that. But no, he likes to carry yarn up to me when I am in bed. So I've learned to make sure that my yarn is in bags or boxes or whatever so he can't get at it. But a couple of weeks ago, last week or the week before, I often put yarn on my kitchen table. I have a kitchen table that has an L-shaped bench that goes around 2 sides of it. And he can get up on the seat, of course, the wooden seat, and see what's on the table. He knows he shouldn't be on the table, but he'll look at what's there and sometimes see something he wants to get. And I had left some yarn there as I was trying to figure out my next project and what I was going to do, and the yarn for a couple of projects ahead. So one morning I get up, and there at the foot of the bed, off to the side where I would walk, I find this little ball, tiny little ball. It's not unraveled. It looks just like that. It's just an end that I have balled up, and it looked just like that laying on the floor. And I thought, oh yeah, right, I forgot. He likes to pick up balls of yarn, so I better not put this back on the table. In fact, I was going to just throw it out. It's too tiny. I can't accomplish anything with it. And I thought, we're fine. All I had was a couple of skeins of yarn there, and I had one cake. And of course, cakes are a good size. So I thought we were fine, and for the next 2 days, nothing. Well, lo and behold, a couple days later, I get up, actually in the middle of the night, to go to the bathroom, and I stumble over a cake of yarn. This particular cake of yarn, you can see it's a full-size cake. I don't know where he grabbed it, but he brings it up and he drops it at the base of, well, off to the side, but at the foot of the bed, like he's bringing me a gift, I guess. I remember one time, oh, it's a few years back, I had 2 or 3 balls of yarn, medium sized. He brought all 3 of them up during the night and dropped them at the foot of my bed. Well, I find this dropped at the foot of the bed. So I thought, okay, obviously he can bring up cakes now too, so I better take that off of the table. So I left it on the top of something very high in my bedroom that day, a chest, a big chest. I left it in my bedroom and forgot about it for a day or two. But the next morning, can you believe it? He brought up this skein of yarn and dropped it at the foot of my bed again. And I was really surprised because you know what I really wish? I wish I had a motion camera that would come on at night and videotape him carrying this upstairs and dropping it at the foot of the bed. I don't know what he thinks he's doing. He doesn't play with it, as you can see. Well, it wasn't unraveled. It looked just like this. And this was like this. He doesn't do anything to them, but bring them up to me. Maybe he's thinking, hey, you need to be busy. Here's your yarn. I don't know what he's thinking. So I decided, okay, from now on, we got to leave things off the kitchen table and make sure that they're in a project bag or something so he can't be carting these things up to me every night. And so that's fine. For a whole week, everything was fine. And I didn't think anything more of it. I just made sure to keep my yarn in bags. Well, earlier this week, I started a new project. You may remember this board of yarn. It was one of my Christmas Advent calendars, and I decided to start using it. And the first 10 skeins, which are pink to purple, a little bit navy. 10 skeins, I caked them up at the first of the week, and I've started a project, and I am working with the second skein, and they're all in a project bag, and the project bag is sitting by my chair, of course, where I work. Well, this is a first. He put his little nose in my project bag, and this morning I get up and I find one of these laying at the foot of my bed. So I guess I'm going to have to make sure I close up my project bags. I never would have thought he would stick his nose in the bag. And you can see this is exactly how it was at the foot of my bed. He doesn't play with it. He just has to get that skein or ball of yarn and bring it to me. I don't know if he's just bringing me presents or what. But that's my cute little story I wanted to share with you this week. He is a cutie. So anyway, I'm really happy this week to share with you a finished object. And it's one you've seen me working on for quite a while over here. So I'll bring it in and see if you can see it. There we go. And there's the back. And maybe you recognize it. This is the windsurfer shawl, the one that uses 2 cakes, 2 gradient cakes, and you alternate every 2 rows with each color. And here it was, it's an asymmetrical triangle, and here is the beginning. And as you know, I kind of got tired of all the aqua aqua, aqua, aqua in the one cake. And even as you went further, it just got a little bit lighter, but it still seemed to be aqua. Well, it wasn't until I got this far down that it started to change to the coral color. Getting a bit warm. The other was purple, and the purple got lighter as well. Both of them were getting lighter at the same time, and it eventually changed to kind of a white into, well, a gray. No, the purple turned to aqua, turned to the coral. It was the aqua that went forever and eventually turned to, I thought it was still aqua, but it was a very, very pale gray and then a darker gray at the end. So it is quite large. If I go point to point, you can see there is droop in it. I'm going to hold up this. Now what I want to show you is where this stitch marker is where you last saw it, and I added that much more to it because I wanted to be sure to get a decent amount of the coral color, and it was getting darker, and I wanted to get a little bit of the gray. In actual fact, the cake that was aqua to gray, remember I took some of the aqua out up here, it just went forever. It had a ball left about this size of the gray. I didn't really want more gray, but I have this much left yet of the one that has the coral. It was purple and then coral aqua. I keep forgetting which one was which. Anyway, this is how much is left of the other one. So that's about how much I took out of the aqua in the one skein. But that's fine. I mean, this can be put with something else to make something in various colors. This was plenty big enough. You can see going across, even if I hold it out here, it goes across to here. That's how wide the bottom of the triangle is. And it's very, very long along the long side. So finally, we are done. I will link it down below, the windsurfer shawl. I have to tell you, it is a relaxing crochet. It is simply the moss stitch. Of course, you have to know how to do the ends and how to increase on the one side. But it is a moss stitch, which, as you know, is a very simple single crochet, chain one. And once you learn, excuse me, once you learn how to carry, you don't ever cut, you carry the yarn up this side very nicely. You don't see any kind of problem with it. Has a nice finished edge. And I mean, it is a bit boring. That's why I didn't work on it steadily. But when I wanted a break from other things for a day, this was really, really a pleasure to work on. And I will definitely do another one or maybe more. I have two cakes that are smaller. They're 800 I think they're 875 yards. I think I may do them next, and they just are two, like one is one color going light to dark and the other is a different color going dark to light, and I think I may put them together. I think they'll be pretty, and then eventually I may do another one, but I'm waiting to the fall to do it because, as you know, in the summer I'm going to be working on the EFA crochet along, which is a big one, and it's going to stretch the whole summer. More about that in the future. So I'm really pleased that I did finally finish this, and now I can take my stitch marker out of it. I do have some other finished objects I'm pleased to see. You will see 3 of them next week, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And today is the day that you're going to see my great big order. It's not one order, but lots of EFA yarn that I got from my brother and his wife because I was sending my shipments to them to save on shipping costs. But just before I show you that video, I want to talk a little bit about shipping costs and a company that I had dealings with last week. I wasn't going to say anything because I do not like to badmouth people or companies. I don't like to be negative on this channel, but I had a few people, friends, viewers, tell me that, Judy, you always tell them about great customer service so people know who to deal with. Well, you need to be honest and tell them about a bad experience. It's only fair to let them know so they don't have the same problem. So as much as I did not want to tell this negative story, I agreed with them. I thought it was only fair. You trust me to be honest with you, and I certainly give glowing reports of many companies, but you just had to know about this one bad experience that I had. Now, first of all, this would only really affect people in Canada ordering from the US. There are two things you need to know. The first thing, and I have mentioned this several times before, when you are ordering from a company in the US that you do not know, maybe you're ordering for the first time, if it's a company I've told you about that I had no problems with, then you're fine. But if it is a company that you know nothing about, the one thing you need to do is check their site and see what they tell you about shipping. How do they ship the product to you internationally? There was a problem with this company because it did not say anything about shipping. Well, if it doesn't say anything about shipping, I will send an email. I've done that more than once. I'll send an email and say, how do you ship to Canada? I need to know, because if you ship any way other than USPS, I can't order. And I've had them write back and say, oh, we didn't know, we will use USPS, or we only use USPS, because they are aware of the problem of a US company shipping to Canada. I don't know about Europe and the other countries, but I know about Canada. They know that if they use UPS, FedEx, and even usually DHL, but it's rare people use DHL, we know the problem. Yes, there is a major problem coming over the border, and I've mentioned it before, and I'll give you the comparison in a minute. So I would normally check out how they ship. Now, the reason I was ordering from this company, as you know, I said I was going to be a tester for a lady who was doing a cowl. And she had she was cooperating with this yarn company I had never heard about. They were I think they're a fairly new, young company, and they're in, I think it's North Carolina, might be South Carolina, but I think it's North Carolina. And they were coming out with a new base that had linen in it. So the designer was working with this yarn company and using their new base, and she recommended that base to us, and it was a sport weight. Now, sport weights are a little harder to find. A lot of indie dyers do not dye sport weight. I can get sport weight at EFA, but I'm not really aware of sport weight at too many independent dyers. Big companies, you might see more. So this was linen, had linen in it, and it was a sport weight. She said we could use something else, but you know, it was a new yarn and I was happy to try it. So I wanted to use this yarn. The dyer was taking our orders up to a certain date, and then she was going to dye it all the next week. It went in the mail, and it went in the mail very quickly. And I ordered 4 skeins, although we only needed 2, but I had a little problem on the site trying to decide which colors really looked best together. So I thought, well, I'll try 4. We were getting 25% off this order because we were testers. So I was only paying for 3 skeins. They were $32 a piece, so that's $96. That seemed reasonable to me. And I got notification that the parcel had gone out. And probably just a week later, I get an email from USPS. Now let me backtrack for a minute. I was using this yarn because it was recommended and I intended to use it, but I did intend to ask how they were shipping it because it did not say anything on the site. Well, I went all over the site and I could not find a phone number and I could not find an email address. There was no contact information. That's a negative to any company as far as I'm concerned. They should have contact information, something on their site. So I just took a chance and ordered it. And I get a notification from UPS. UPS says there is money owing on this, and I knew without looking any further that I was not going to be happy with what they had to say. Well, first let me tell you, if this parcel of 3 skeins valued at $96 US would have been close to 140 Canadian. Now, if it had come through the Postal Service, 50-50 chance it would have been stopped. A lot of my orders through the postal system do not get stopped. They come direct to me and I pay nothing. But if it had got stopped, they would have charged me 13% GST, which is our sales tax. I pay it on everything I buy in the stores, so not a problem. And 13% of $140 was 14 plus 4 something. So about $18, maybe 18 and change, 18 GST and $9.99 or $10 processing fee. I would have paid around $28 to get the parcel if it came through the postal system. But it came UPS. And UPS says you must pay this bill before it's delivered. It will be at your house. They gave me a date that was 1 or 2 days away. And the bill was $74. Well, $73.90 something. $74. You see the difference? 28 versus 74. I wasn't going to pay it. And so I refused it. I contacted UPS and said, I'm sorry, I'm not paying that. Please send it back to the sender. No problem. They processed it. Back it went. And I'm sure she got notification within the day. Now, I think I should do the courtesy of contacting the company and letting them know why I am sending it back. But I didn't know how to contact them. There was no phone number. There was no email. I went looking around and I finally discovered, I don't know how I discovered it, that they did have a Facebook page. So being that they had a Facebook page, I knew I could contact them through the messenger. So I went in the messenger, searched them up, and I sent them an email or a message saying that I had made an order, gave them my name that I had ordered under, and I got notification from UPS that I was owing this money, and I've sent the parcel back. I would really appreciate it if you would contact me and I will further explain. I'm not sure exactly what I said, but I said something to her about contacting me. I gave her my phone number and my email. She replies to the messenger saying, if you want to talk to me, here's my email address. Okay, fine. So I emailed her, explained the whole thing, and said, I'm not willing to pay $74. It needs to come through the postal system. And normally I would have contacted you ahead, but I couldn't find any way to contact you. And she writes back, oh, and I also said, it's coming back to you, and I leave it up to your discretion to decide. Do you want to resend it through the postal system or refund me the money? And she writes back a little bit snarky about I did have a way to contact her because she had sent me an email. Okay. I didn't think about finding the email where she had listed the colors of yarn. I'd lost that email. And she says, we're a small company and we are not used to dealing internationally and we didn't know this. And so we're issuing a refund. I thought, okay, fine. They're issuing a refund. So later that day, she must have got the notification from UPS, so she knew it was coming back. She immediately issued me a refund. She issued me a refund for the product, not the entire invoice, which would have had shipping on it as well. She issued me only for the product. Now, I've dealt with other companies and had the same situation happen, and I would say in every situation, they resent it. In other words, they paid the shipping a second time and sent it to me. I think their thinking was it's worth paying the shipping a second time to have a happy customer, to avoid, playing around with refunds. And it's good PR because a happy customer is going to tell others, especially a happy customer who has a YouTube channel and people hear the stories. No, they issued me a refund. Now, sorry, I need a drink. Now, I need to tell you, I lost out in two ways. First of all, when they charge me for the order through PayPal or your credit card, doesn't really matter, they charge you an exchange rate of about, right now, American to Canadian is 41%, really close. Sometimes it's 40, sometimes it's a little less, sometimes a little more, but we're fluctuating in the 40 to 41%. When they credit me the product, they credit me at a 35% exchange rate. So I lose 5% on that $100, that almost $100 that they refunded me, and I lost the shipping. And I'm thinking, she might be a little company, but I'm a little individual. And she apparently believes that I should foot the bill for the shipping. And I didn't even get anything. And I wrote it back and I explained how I lost on the exchange. And of course, I'm losing the shipping. And I'm disappointed that she did that because when all was said and done, it cost me $42 for nothing. I didn't get anything but a bill for $42. And I thought that wasn't fair. And I said so in a very nice way. I said it was very expensive doing business with you. And she never responded. Dropped the ball on communication. To me, that wasn't right. It might have cost her $25, $28 to ship it again. Or she would have had to refund me the whole amount, where I paid approximately $28, I think, for the original shipping. Yes, she would have lost it out. She's a business and can complain, can put it on her income tax as a loss, so she gets something off of it. And second of all, that's cheap advertising. Well, she saved $28 or whatever it was I would have lost money even if she refunded me the whole thing, because I would have lost 5% on it, but that wouldn't have been too much. But she has lost, I think, good business PR. And I'm sorry to be negative, but I had to tell you the story. And I guess I wanted to just tell the story and say nothing more, but I guess I have to tell you the name of the company. And they are, I believe, in the Charlotte area, North Carolina. I haven't looked it up, but they are called Queen City Yarn. Just so you know, this is how they deal with their customers. And I'm really sorry to be negative, but I have to be honest. So, enough. We're going to move on. Enough of that. So today is the day I promised you that I'd be showing you all that lovely yarn I got from, well, I got from EFA, but it went south for the winter and had a vacation, and I received it a couple of weeks ago. And fortunately, the week that I got it, I videotaped opening it and showing it to you outside, because I hoped that the light would be better. And so I did it outside at my patio table, and it was gorgeous weather. Thank goodness I didn't wait, because it's terrible weather now. It's cold, almost like winter. So we're going to interrupt, and I'm going to go to the videotaping from outside. Well, here I am again. I thought I would do something just a little bit different to show you all this yarn. As you can tell, I am outside. I am sitting at the table on my patio. And I thought maybe the light might be just a little bit different. I'm not going to sit out right in the bright sunlight. I think that would blow it all out. But I was hoping that the brightness of the day might help you to see the colors a little bit different. So I'm going to try to do these in groupings of similar types of yarn. I have a lot of individuals, a lot of singles, but I have a few packages as well. I'll do the packages at the very end. So going to just start over here at the far side and see how it goes. I have tested putting them in front of the camera, and the colors really are quite vibrant. This is one that I bought in Sparkle DK. Now, remember, this is all the yarn I bought through the winter while my brother was in Florida. And Sparkle DK in the color Crimson Mum. Beautiful, beautiful colors. Sparkle DK is a mixture of 60% superwash merino, 26% nylon, 10% baby alpaca, and 4% metallic. And it has 250 meters or 275 yards. Now keep in mind, they have gone out of Sparkle DK. You might find one or two colors still remaining, but basically they've cleared out their Sparkle DK. I don't know if that's temporary or not, so the chances of finding this one are nil. So that's that one. Next I got, I'll save those. Next I got, and this is the only one I got in Alpaca Silk DK. Yes, the colors are really showing up vibrant. I'm really happy with that. Now, it's called Tawny Port. You can see it's like a wine color. Actually, in real life, it doesn't look as bright as it does there on the screen. Alpaca Silk DK is 50% baby alpaca and 50% mulberry silk DK, 210 meters or 230 yards. a very, very soft yarn. Ranks up in my top selections from EFA. So this is the only alpaca silk DK I got during that time. Then I got two skeins, but I'll only hold up one. I got two skeins of vellum. Again, I think they must have had a special or going out of it. They don't carry vellum all the time. And I have quite a few of this yarn in a medium blue and a pale blue and some other colors. And I wanted this, what I consider to be a navy, to go with what I had. So vellum fingering is 70% baby alpaca, 20% mulberry silk, and 10% yak. This is another very, very soft yarn. I have worked with it. It is nice to work with. Now, this is only like what you'd call a half a skein. It's 50 grams, and therefore it's 183 meters or 200 yards. But I wanted a couple to go with the other blues that I have. I don't know if I'm going to do a three-tone gradated blue, maybe a sweater, maybe a shawl. It feels just heavenly. Next, I got only one skein of Mirage Sport. Most of the Mirage Sport I have is tonal colors, you know, solids. They don't have variegateds very often. This one is called Winter Slumber. See all of the, a little bit of yellow, but mostly it has, see some dark blues and purples, reds and pinks there. And at this other end, we have more pinks, a little bit of orange and cream. It's got it all. Mirage Sport, again, is a heavenly feeling yarn. Sport weight means it's sort of a little bit heavier than fingering, but not as thick as a DK. And Mirage Sport, again, a great combination. 70% merino, 10% baby camel, 10% cashmere, and 10% mulberry silk. No wonder it feels so heavenly. They have so many bases that are gorgeous. Anyhow, very, very pretty. One skein has 350 yards, 320 meters. I'll probably make something for around the neck. I wish now I had gotten two of these. But anyway. And next, and I'm going to contact them about this, but this is Twisted Tweed Sport. Same weight as the Mirage Sport. And I didn't know if I would like this color or not. I like red when it's a true red. When it's orangey, I don't care for it. This is called Fire Kissed Twisted Tweed Sport. And it's 42% merino, fine merino, 43% superwash merino, and 15% Donegal. Has 351 meters or 384 yards. And the reason I'm going to contact them is that they sometimes will bring on colors if you ask. And at the time of my taping, they're having a special in Twisted Tweed. And I like this color. I like this weight. It's not as, see if I can get a strand here. It's not as thin as fingering, but not as heavy as DK. And so it makes a really nice weight for a sweater. And I only have one skein, and I'm going to write and see if they will buy some more of it. I would love a sweater in this color. It's just a beautiful, beautiful red. So that's Twisted Tweed Sport. And okay, next we're going on to a mall fingering. I'll tell you about it, then I'll show you. I have 4 different colors. A mall, you can tell right away, has linen in it because, as Shandy will tell you, the linen does not dye the same as the rest. It has 60% baby alpaca, 20% linen, and 20% mulberry silk. What a great combination. So you don't feel the stiffness of linen at all. It feels very, very nice. It has 400 meters or 438 yards. This color is called Optimism. I think you can tell it is a nice, what I would call forest green. And then I have this teal, they call it Journey to Success, and it's a teal. You can see the difference there. And then I have, this one is called Excellence. It's a brown, a nice chocolate brown. I have already in my stash from previous orders, I have an orange, but not a bright in your face orange. It's more a dull orange that I think would go great even with these 2 to make something, but this one for sure. And then finally I got this one. I have already ordered more of this. I think I have 3 more, and this is called Motivation. And again, a really pretty green red. And that red will go with that green, really, really nice. But like I said, I ordered more red because my thought was, again, I would like to make a sweater in this color. It is a really nice blue red. It's not an orange yellow red, it's a blue red, and I really, really like it. And this is, despite having linen in it, this is so nice and soft. Okay. Next, I have 1 skein of pearlescent worsted. I don't order it very often, but this was a really pretty color. It's called October Cosmos. It's starting to come apart there at the end. Being worsted, it only has 201 meters, 220 yards. It's like the fingering, it is 50% merino and 50% mulberry silk. But it has some teals and orangey and blues and reds. So it is enough to make a cowl. I will probably make a cowl out of it unless I have another skein that matches it, although oftentimes the variegateds don't match. Then I might make something bigger, but a cowl for sure. Okay, then what all do I have up here? Okay, I'm gonna show. I have a couple of Dewy DK. Now we're into DK. Not sure what drove me to order these. Here is a real, I think I was just trying to fill in some of the colors. This is called Evergreen, and it definitely is a really nice green. It's a DK weight, so it has 228 meters, 250 yards. And their Dewy DK is 70% merino, 20% nylon, and 10% silk. They put silk in a lot of their bases. Really makes a difference. So that is Evergreen, and this one is called Fetish. I think these 2 could go together. I think I have some other colors that could maybe go with these as well. Very nice, rich colors. They are tonals, though. You can see a little bit lighter here. This one looks pretty solid, but this one has lighter colors in it. And then I got a package, a set of Dewy DK, and I'm going to, same specs as the other. I'm going to, oh, I was going to take them out of the package, but I forgot to. Sorry about that, but I forgot these kits had to be opened, so I had to go and get my scissors. So they sell these as a kit, and I don't too often buy a lot of DK weight, but I really, really liked the colors in this particular set. So there are 6 in the set. Hopefully I can hold them all up here. No, I'm going to have to do it in 3s. So here are the first 3. They don't have, so one thing that bothers me, they never have color names on the ones in the kit. The kit itself has a color name, and it is called Abalone Hues. So we have this purple and pink and grays. I absolutely love this. And then next we have more purples, but they're going to a bluey purple instead of the pinky purple. A fair bit of blue. See the blue down here in the sparkles. And then this one that is mostly gray, but it has purple and pink in it as well. I could put it this order, I think. I think I might put these 3 together in something and not put the others with it. To me, these 3 would be perfect in something. 250 yards a piece, 750, that could make a shawl. Then the next 3, this blue one, tones of blue. I think I probably have some blue that I could put this with. And then these 2 I like together. And the first one is cream with browns, and it has gray or almost black charcoal in it. Very nice neutral. I would love a sweater in that. And this green, I think I'd put those 2 together, and this has tones of green, but you know what? That green could go with this other green that I got separately. Anyway, this has really nice, it's got a teeny bit of blue in it, shades of green. So that's the Dewy, something's crawling on me. That's the shade, that's the Dewy DK that I got. Put it out of the way. Then I did buy a fair bit of singles in the Oasis fingering. It's a lovely yarn to work with. And so I'll show you one, tell you the specs, and then I'll show you all the other colors. So we'll start with this one. This one is called Tropics. It's blues and purples, but there's grays and greens down here. You know, I would love that. And Oasis fingering is 50% camel and 50% mulberry silk. And it is oftentimes, I find when I'm working with it, it is just a wee bit thinner than some of, I can get a strand up here, a wee bit thinner than some of my other fingering weights. This is fingering weight. It has 457 meters or 500 yards. So that tells you it is a little thinner or lighter, since there's 500 yards in a 100 gram skein, whereas pearlescent has 400 and some yards. So very pretty. All the rest are exactly the same, just different colors. So this one's called Tropics. This next one is called Twilight Lavender. Beautiful shades of bluey lavender, pinky lavender. See, there's some pink up there. Little bit of green coming through, but really does make you think of a lavender field, doesn't it? Absolutely beautiful. Then the next one is called December Delights. The deep mulled colors of Christmas, like mulled wine, deep greens, wine and burgundy, or what word I'm trying to think of. It'll come to me later. And there are blues in it, deeper blues, along with the green teal, but they're all deep, muted colors. Really nice. I really like that. Again, 2 skeins of that would have been really nice. And then this one is called Charmed. Oh, great fall color. Isn't that autumn? Again, 2 of those would have made a really nice shawl. Asymmetrical triangle. I can get one asymmetrical triangle out of 500 meters, I think, if I'm careful with the stitch. If I do something with some open in it. Down here we have a little more green and cream, some teal speckles. Really gorgeous fall color. Love it. And this next one, I actually have 2 of it, but I know I have ordered more because I want, again, thinking of a sweater. I really have a red theme going on here, don't I? This one is called Winter Comfort. Winter Comfort. Beautiful tones of reds and pinks, rose colored. I love it. So I'm gonna have to be making a lot of sweaters this fall. Now this one is thinner, so it won't be the first one I make. I think I really want to make that twisted tweed one if I can get the yarn for it, and then the amal fingering. But that's gorgeous too. So that's all of the Oasis fingering. Now I have 3 more kits, and with some of these kits you get extra things. So let's start with Sincere Sock. Sincere Sock is like a fingering weight, and this is a kit of 4 that is called Shadowy Hues. So I'll bring the 4 of these out. I'll tell you, Sincere Sock is merino nylon, so it's a 75-25 based merino nylon. It has, well, each skein has 400 meters, which is usually 437 yards. So it's their basic sock yarn, but still feels very nice. Merino nylon, I'd say it's sort of average in the middle of merino nylons. I felt worse, I felt better. So first one is this red. I think at the time I bought it, they were showing a pattern done in these 4 colors. And again, that's a very nice red. And then next to it, a little lighter, is a rose color. And then they have a light brown, almost taupey, and then a darker brown. And that one is a chocolate brown in my book. So that is the set. that they were selling together, and they made something with it. So I will likely look for that pattern and probably make it. If I change my mind, then I'll put these two together and these two together. But I will look for the pattern they did with these, because that's what enticed me to buy it. Now, I don't know if it came with this set or another set, but I got this package of goodies. And inside there are, I think, 10 of these snowflakes. Oh, it probably came with that other one that's called, yeah, Snowflake. Okay, I'll hang on to it. Okay, so that's the Sincere sock. And I'll put them back on the bag. The next set I got is Pearlescent. You know how I like Pearlescent. It was one of my favorites at one time. This is going to look similar to the other. Now, Pearlescent fingering is 50% merino and 50% silk, mulberry silk. And there's the set. And I know for a fact they made a wrap, a rectangular wrap using this. Beautiful together. I'll show them singly. You can see this is tonal. It's not all light pink. I like the light pink, but it has a brownie pink in it. And then it goes to a deeper rose kind of color. And then we get an evergreen kind of color, deep green. And then to me, that's almost a blue-green, like a spruce color almost. So there they all are together. And Pearlescent fingering always feels heavenly. It's very silky feeling. I can smell the dye or the wash on it. But I love Pearlescent fingering. I think that's the yarn that I have the most of from EFA. So I got to start using a little more of it. And then finally, we get to the end of my Christmas in June. All of my winter buyings, I'm surprised I only bought one kit of this, or one skein, one group of this, because this is their moon gleam fingering. And the moon gleam fingering is fast becoming one of my favorites. Moon gleam fingering, let me read you the specs first. This set is called Snowflake Hues, and it's 50% cotton and 50% mulberry silk. Now, you know the benefits of cotton. I am going to make something for the summer out of one of these moon gleam fingering kits, or I do have a couple kits of them, and I also have a lot of singles. And then you put silk with it, makes it just heavenly. So there is the set that they're calling Snowflake Hues. So let me show them singly. Here we have a tonal soft green. It's not bright green. It's got some duller greens in it. So there's a tonal. By the way, each one of these has 400 meters or 437 yards. Then we get this blue, gray, green gray color. It looks totally gray in the picture, but it definitely has a green tone in it that goes with this. And then finally, the third one, as you know, I would love this, is this mauve and white, and it has blue speckles in it. It even has a little bit of pink in it. A lovely, lovely skein of yarn. And I'll have to tell you, I'm not a huge cotton fan, but I love their moon gleam fingering, which is cotton and silk. And I just imagine, I'm thinking one time I'm going to take one of their kits of 3 And I'm just going to make a top down with the 3 colors in the kit. I don't know how that will look, but I can just imagine how comfortable that is going to feel. It feels so nice and soft. You would not think you were feeling cotton, that's for sure. And I know it's the silk that makes it feel that way. It is lovely. Now, what I started to say earlier is this came with some extra little goodies. I never really care if I get the extra goodies, but Shandy is known for her goodies. And this has a package of 10 of these. 10 of these snowflakes, and they have a little eye. They could be strung on something, but I can't imagine what I would use them for. What do you think? What would you do with them? I don't know. Anyway, there are 10 of those, and then it looks like there's also 10 of these, and they are, if I can get it out of the package to show you, it's like getting a crystal. They all come in a little package. Let me get it out. Okay, here we go. Really pretty. The back is plain silver, but the front is like a crystal snowflake. And I don't know if you can see, but up here at the top, see, there is a hole. So again, they could be strung. I can't see stringing 10 of them on a necklace. That's not something I would wear. And I'm not really into jewelry making with beads and wires and all of the rest of that. So again, I'm not too sure what I would do with that. What would you do with it? I don't know. I maybe should give it as a gift sometime when I have a prize to give away. But anyway, there are 10 of those in my package and 10 of these in my package to think about. So that is my yarn from the winter. All the yarn that my brother and his wife collected for me and brought home to me last week. Wasn't it some beautiful, beautiful yarn? And maybe seeing so much of it at once, you understand a little bit of why I love EFA yarn so much. Now, I happened to see Shandy do a video this week. By the time you see this, it's a couple weeks ago, but it might be worth going back and looking. But apparently they are getting in small packages of samples of all of their yarn that's undyed, so that you would have samples of their bases, and they're 10 grams, so you can touch and feel. They aren't on their website yet, but I will be sure to tell you about it when they put them on their website. Some of you might be interested in getting those small samplers just to feel their yarn, and you could make something with the little samplers. So that's all I have to show you today. I hope you enjoyed sharing my Christmas in June. Now back to regular programming. So here we are back again. How did you enjoy it? Wasn't that a lot of beautiful yarn? And I want to add something to it. Just yesterday, I received another order from EFA, and normally I wouldn't worry about showing it, but I thought, well, you've just seen a lot of EFA yarn, and apparently a lot of you like to see the EFA yarn. Some of you have said, I'm living vicariously through you. But I thought I would show you this yarn as well, because it is a new base, and I'm just going to show it to you very quickly because this has become a fairly long video for me. So the new base is called Yak Merino Sport. So let me tell you about it. It has 300 meters in it. Remember, it's sport, so it's a little heavier. And it has 70% superwash merino and 30% yak. And they talk about the properties of yak. You might want to check it out. So I got 300 meters, which is 329 yards. And I got 6 colors because when I'm making an order, 6 is optimal. They charge the same price for 1 as they do 6. So here is, they're all what I call tonals. They feel nice. It's not their softest yarn, but it feels nice. And who knows what it'll feel like after you wash it. That always changes it. But it does, it feels about on a par with their, say, Sincere sock. So here's the first one. It's kind of green with tonal, and it's called Imagine. And then we have a blue one. They have 2 different blues. The other blue, I think, is more denim. And this one's called Brave. See the tonal? And then they have, this one is kind of a wine burgundy maroon color called Fearless. I really like this. I wouldn't mind enough to make a sweater, but I have a lot of sweater quantities right now, so won't be ordering it. By the way, they say that there are more than 6 colors, but they've said when it runs out, it runs out. This one is a red, and it's not quite as noticeable tonal. It has a little bit of shading, and it's called Bold. And finally, this one is kind of a brown, but it has pink in it. See the pink with the brown? I really like this one as well. I would make a sweater out of that. And it's called Live, Laugh, Love. I don't know how she comes up with the names, but I'm sure it must be tough with all the yarn they have to always be thinking up names. So that brings us to the end of this week's episode. I know it has been longer than usual. I apologize, but that was a lot of yarn to show you. A big yarn haul from, oh, I don't know, there were probably 6, half a dozen different orders, maybe even more, in what I showed you outside in the sunshine, which I'm going to watch again because it'll make me feel warmer. And so I just want to remind you that next week we are going to do a focus on a designer. And this is a new designer to me, but I've already made 2 of her items, and I'm making a 3rd one using my little present, my 10 mini skeins, which I should have done for next week. So I'll have 3 finished objects to show you next week, as well as discuss this designer. And then, you know what? We're going to be almost to the end of the month. I do have my June item made. How about you? Is yours finished yet? If so, don't forget, get the picture mailed to me. That's judyscreations21@gmail.com. It is in the description box below. And it has to get to me before June the 28th, and it's already the 15th, so you have just under 2 weeks to finish up and get me your picture. And next week I'm also going to tell you, here is an announcement coming. I am going to do a summer cow, and you're going to want to tune in next week to hear all about it. So until then, happy hooking.